Hello everyone, my name is Ronald Ramirez. Today I'm going to be your host. For this show, we are going to introduce you three different sections. The first one is going to be cooking section, where I will teach you how to prepare a delicious huevos pericos Colombian dish. The second section is going to be news, where it contains home news, international news, and sport news. And the last one is going to be entertainment, where we will describe to the future BTTF movie. Let's begin. I'm going to teach you how to cook a delicious Colombian dish named huevos pericos. For this traditional breakfast, we are going to need 2 scallions, 2 tomatoes, 3 eggs, salt to taste, butter or oil in a cooking pot. We have to chop 2 tomatoes. Once are chopped, we are going to add to melted butter, and we are going to continue chopping scallions. Once we have scallion chopped, we have to add to the cooking pot with tomatoes. We have to let them cook or fry. While they're frying, we have to mix 3 eggs with salt to taste. And don't forget to add salt to taste to the huevos pericos, which are getting fried. Once tomato and scallion are fried, we are going to add the 3 eggs mixed and start to mix all the recipe or the ingredients in this recipe together at the same time for avoiding to get burnt. Once it's fried, we have to serve this delicious, and we have a huevos pericos dish. We can eat these delicious huevos pericos with arepa, cheese, and chocolate cups. Let's continue with home news. Colombia's Comptroller General seized assets of 10 health intermediary companies for charging patients for treatments covered by their. According to the Comptroller General's office, the so-called EPS intermediaries charged both patients and public health care funds. Among the fraudsters are some of the country's largest EPSs, including some that already had been embroiled in previous corruption scandals. Colombia's opposition has called to reform the healthcare system and remove the intermediaries, but are opposed by law workers who illegally receive much of their campaign from the EPSs. The Colombian Association of Integral Health Companies that represent the alleged fraudsters say that the companies ripped off its members and public health funds in only 1% of the cases. With the assets that were seized, the Comptroller General hopes to recover 400,000 pesos that was illegally charged to both patients and public health funds. Let's continue with international news. The two sides had been engaged in talks on the leaders' second meeting after the first unprecedented one in Singapore in June. A meeting is likely sometime after the first of the year, the U.S. official told a small group of reporters. U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo said on Friday he hopes to meet his North Korean counterpart soon to lay the groundwork for a big step forward on the nuclearization during the next summit. Pompeo, in an interview with Voice of America on a trip to Mexico City, said Kim told him 2 weeks ago he was committed to the promises he had made to Trump during their first summit. Pompeo met North Korean Foreign Minister Ri Yong-ho at the United Nations General Assembly in New York in September. A State Department spokeswoman declined to clarify if Pompeo meant he would meet his counterpart in Washington, saying she had no meetings to announce. The Rodon Sinam, North Korea's official party newspaper, said the United States should not take an approach with 2 faces as Washington thought process in the nuclearization talks while keeping sanctions in place. The United States and South Korea on Friday said they had suspended upcoming joint air defense drills in a bid to ensure diplomatic efforts with North Korea continue. The two Koreas have held 3 summits this year. Let's continue with the sport news. The Ryder Cup fan who was left blinded by a wayward Brooks Koepka shot has hammered event organizers, claiming she could have been killed. Cardin remained his eye exploded after a tee shot flew into her right eye, leaving her with permanent damage, which will change her life forever. Mr. Remain, 49 years old, have traveled from Egypt with her husband Rafael for golfing spectacular, but their dream trip turned to horror as they stood down the fairway of the 6th hole at the Golf National Club in Saint Queen in Yvelines, just outside of Paris. Mr. Remain is planning to take legal actions against event organizers who claim that the adequate warnings were not given before the ball came flying in the direction of the fans. I hope that this terrible accident will improve safety for the public, she's told to BBC Sports. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you got a bit informed. See you soon. Good night. Let's finish with entertainment news. A short description about Back to the Future or BTTF movie.
What's the movie's name? The movie's name is Back to the Future or BTTF. Do you think this name is appropriate? Why? I think Back to the Future it's an appropriate name because it has a plain words and makes it unrepeatable by the relation between future events and past events. What other name would you give to the movie? Why? I would name it Fighting Against Time's Omen. What type of movie is it? It's a science fiction, adventures and comedy movie. When and where was it made? Back to the Future was made in the USA and its main locations were filmed in Los Angeles in 1985. What do you think about the locations? Would you add extra ones? Why? Locations in the movie was perfect because it had vintage style according to the movie's time. I wouldn't add extra locations because I think every scene has a special content and I can read it and none of us will like it. What's the movie about? Back to the Future, it's about Marty McFly's adventures, a teenager who travels simply back in time from 1985 to 1955. At this time he meets his future parents and his main mission is to make them stay together for making sure his own existence. During this trip back in time, he knows an eccentric scientist named Dr. Emmett Brown who helps him to travel back in time by time-traveling DeLorean, repairing history and return to 1985, going through a lot of circumstances but never giving up. What's your opinion about the movie? Consider locations, actors, script, message, scenes. I think Back to the Future movie it's perfect because according to the times when we were filmed, because locations make them travel back in time through past and future. Some scenes had mistakes and important facts, but following movie sequences our eyes noticed. Final message, it's an important and that's an important value. We should love not only our parents and even each of our family members. I assimilate message with an English idiom which it says, you don't know what you've got till it's gone. Which character do you identify the most? Why? I identify with Marty McFly because he's always fighting for achieving what he wants and he has a true love for his family and he's really curious.
That's everything for today. We hope to see you tomorrow with the next show, very show here. That's everything. Thanks a bunch.